Hey everyone, it's Motsi. We're halfway through October and still funding for our horror comic, which means I get an excuse to do a bunch of really fun live streams with some amazing horror podcasters and even creators in video games. You do not want to miss these live streams, especially because some of them are actually European and West Asian friendly. We wanted to make sure that everybody got to join at least one live stream, and so it's going to happen. On Monday, 12 to 2 p.m. EST, that's 5 to 7 p.m. BST, we'll be chatting with Anusia Battersby and Billie Hindle, aka Gwen Bouchard and Alice Dyer, from the Magnus Protocol. We'll be doing some Magnus talk and talking about women in horror, and maybe even doing a bit of doodling. Come join us at twitch.tv/HiNiPod. And that's not all. On Monday from 8 to 10 p.m. EST, we'll be chatting with Alex Nursall of PARKDALE Haunt and Woodbine, some amazing Toronto horror podcasts. And we'll be talking about Monster Love and Toronto Terrors. We'll also be doing a bit of doodling, because why not? It's fun, it's great, we have shenanigans, it's a good time. On Tuesday, from 3 to 5 p.m. EST, that's 8 to 10 p.m. BST, we'll be reuniting with Ella, Eira, and Hero, the folks from CAMLANN, Hanging Sloth Productions, and Monstrous Productions, to chat about mythology and folklore. We actually chatted with them last year for our High Night fundraiser, and it'll be great to hear from them again, especially if you love mythology and folklore like we do, especially monsters of folklore. And we will also be, as you guessed it, doodling! Yay! On the same day, for us anyway, from 8 to 10 p.m. EST, we'll be chatting with Athan and Jamie Petronis from the GROTTO Cellar Letters and the upcoming horror procedural Redacted. Athan and Jamie are good friends. We're going to have so much fun talking about monsters and mysteries and just having a great time. We may also be doodling, although Jamie really doesn't want to, so who knows, we'll see what happens. But sorry, Jamie, we really like doodling in this house, so. On Wednesday, we've got a really exciting chat with Sutcliffe from EELER'S Choice from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. EST, that is 8 to 10 p.m. BST. We'll be talking about our 9 to Midnight stories. 9 to Midnight being this wonderful horror anthology series from Harlan, creator of Malevolent and Divisor. And I'll be chatting with Lou about our upcoming 9 to Midnight stories, both of which involve really cool monsters from folklore. And maybe we'll be doing some doodling, I don't know, we'll see. And on the same Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST, something really exciting for me personally, we'll be talking with Nick Lives, or Nick Lives, I never actually asked him how to pronounce that, I'm so sorry, Nick, from Night Signal Entertainment. And if you don't know Night Signal, you might if you like indie horror video games, because Night Signal Entertainment created Home Safety Hotline, which I've played on the channel before on YouTube with HiNiPod. They're known for creating some really spooky, scary 90s and 2000s style horror. It's amazing. Go check it out. But also, come join us for our chat and our doodle session. It's gonna be great. Nick is amazing. We got to chat when we were doing some Redacted streams, and now we get to chat again. I'm really excited. Now, that's not the end of the week of streams. We've still got a couple more things planned for Thursday and Friday. I'm just finalizing them, so you will hear from me again on Wednesday about the schedule for Thursday and Friday. But otherwise, please come join us at HiNiPod, twitch.tv/HiNiPod, follow us on all our socials, and please, please, please help us get to our goal on Kickstarter. That is, Kickstarter, the Pinoy Monster Horror Anthology. I've got the link below, as well as the link to our Twitch. Come join us, it's going to be a good time, and thank you so much for listening to Hi Ni and enjoying the show. I'm really excited to get back into the main episodes, and really excited to get us to the end of Act 3. Tell your friends about the comic. We want to get to 25,000 Canadian before the end of October, so that we can make sure that our wonderful Filipino artists are paid fairly and well, and that we're able to get all of these comics into your hands. Maraming salamat, and see you at the streams. What you're about to hear is an upcoming bonus episode. The bonus episode will be available for Ate patrons and above in full, and a longer excerpt will be available for all listeners. This particular episode will be centered on another mysterious big one of the many strange big ones that exist in the Haina universe. This episode is entitled Uong, or Mushroom.
There's nothing I fear more than loneliness. Too often, I was left alone at home when I was a child, by a father who loved me far more than he was around me, whose tiredness was so constant that most of the quality time I spent with him was when I tucked myself under his arm after he collapsed into bed after work, but only after he made sure I was fed. Only after he made sure I had everything I needed for school the next day. He always wanted to talk to me at dinner, but I don't think he could ever listen. His eyes stared into the middle distance while he asked about my day, and didn't seem to hear my answers, judging from his slow, mismatched responses. I loved him so much. I know he knew that. But I was lonely. Lonelier when he didn't come home one night. And I found out later that he fell asleep at the wheel and never woke up. My aunt, his sister, brought me to their childhood home and had him buried under the trees behind the yard. Said he loved it there when he was a kid. Said he told her once he wanted to be buried there, years later, though he probably didn't think he'd end up there so early. My aunt was nice, but she wasn't really the parenting type. She was always honest with me, and she told me that she didn't really want to keep me. I spent a few months with her in that house, since she didn't have space in her apartment in the city. It was a quiet place, flanked by a forest and a nearby mountain. The house was gorgeous, enormous, and homey, but the only neighbors we had were 2 houses across the street with no kids I could play with, and old people that were comfortably isolated. So at a quiet, well-behaved 10 years old, I spent most days playing by myself. My favorite game was adventuring in the backyard, talking to myself and making up stories about finding the Dark Wizard, or beating the pirates, or having an expedition to the North Pole where alien dinosaurs lived. Probably just an act of imagination, but when I talked to myself, like I was talking to my fantasy adventuring party, or pirate crew, the good kind, of course, or my expedition team, I could hear every single one of their voices in my head, clear as day. It made things feel less lonely. Sometimes I'd look up and I'd see my aunt watching me from her home office window, while she talked to clients on the phone. And I'd wave at her or salute her, and she'd smile at me for just a moment, before tearing her eyes away and going back to her business. My aunt, she was nice, but as far as I was concerned, for about 80% of the week, she didn't exist. I remember playing with my space pirate crew. Remember their names even after 25 years. Bersidian the Brave, Mr. Coxswain, Alley-Oop. Silly little kids' names. They felt so real to me, like they were talking to me. I didn't really feel alone in that yard behind the house, in the bit of the forest I'd wander into sometimes, when I promised my aunt I wouldn't stray too far. I had lots of adventures, and my aunt let me write about them on endless reams of used printer paper from her work. She tried to bring me out as much as she could, but you couldn't really get anywhere without a car, so most days I was just home. Ironically, being alone with nobody but my imaginary friends, I felt less lonely than when I was living with my dad. Still, when it came time for me to go back to school and my aunt found me a nice couple to stay with in the city, I said goodbye to that house. But the afternoon before I left, I told the gang I'd be going away to the city, and we couldn't have adventures anymore. I don't know why I assumed they couldn't just go back with me. We roamed galaxies together, yet going back to the city felt unimaginably distant. They were sad in their own way, but I remember Versidian, my trusted co-captain, saying something that didn't make sense to me at the time. "You could stay here forever," he said, "if you really, really wanted to." And he told me all I had to do was stay after dark. Something that my aunt told me never to do. "I can't see you in the dark," she'd say. And for a second I thought, wouldn't that be grand? But then I shook myself out of it, telling myself I didn't want my aunt to worry. She was so good to me, even if we never actually felt like, well, she was always good to me. I'd be a bad kid if I made her worry. Versidian said that I'd miss out on a really, really special surprise if I didn't go. He seemed really upset. But I still said no. And he didn't push after that. That was the last time I saw him. Well, heard him. I saw him in the yard when I was in the car. Saw him and the others waving at me from out the window. I waved back, and my aunt asked who I was waving to. I said, "My friends," and she made a face like she didn't want to call me crazy, but the thought was clear in her head.